In every human soul there is a darkness, a lurking form that we wish to keep hidden from the light of others, and often from ourselves. This is called the shadow, a subtle form of self-denial. It is the source of our greatest contradictions, a force moving in silence, shaping us without our permission. Yet, it is precisely this silent motion that reveals its true power. The shadow acts upon itself. In its retreat from the conscious mind, it does not disappear. It transforms, reflects, deepens. It can remain a source of great creativity, driving us to fulfillment, if only we learn to embrace it. By examining our dark side, we can find that it consists of those traits, desires, and impulses that we have pushed away because we have been conditioned to see them as unacceptable or undesirable. Whether it's anger, jealousy, or fear, these aspects are buried in the unconscious. But repression doesn't make them disappear. In fact, these disowned parts can often surface in destructive ways, causing emotional turmoil and inner conflict. When we refuse to recognize or accept these hidden parts, they influence us indirectly, perhaps through projections where we see in others the very qualities we fail to accept in ourselves. By denying them, we inadvertently deny parts of our own self, leading to a fragmented identity. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Ironically, what we often reject within ourselves holds the key to greater authenticity. Shadow integration is not merely about addressing the negative traits. It is about understanding that these hidden aspects contain potent creative energies. Jung observed that the shadow is not purely a reservoir of evil or undesirable traits, but also displays a number of good qualities, such as normal instincts, appropriate reactions, realistic insights, creative impulses. There is no becoming without the shadow. Without it, we are nothing but pale fragments of ourselves, reduced to hollow shells seeking refuge in false light. The shadow, when acknowledged and respected, offers not noise but clarity. It is not our enemy, but our greatest ally. By accepting these repressed parts, we open the door to more complete living. In fact, many great leaders, artists, and thinkers have achieved their success precisely because they engaged with their shadow. By doing so, they harnessed the full spectrum of their being, both light and dark, which allowed for more powerful and original forms of expression. Too often, those who dare to quote Nietzsche invoke the shallow echoes of his words, reminding the masses to beware becoming the monsters they fight. They forget or never understood the deeper resonance. Nietzsche's true insight into the shadow lay not in fear, but in its acceptance. He wrestled with his own abyss, not to avoid it, but to drink from its depths. It is in his exe homo that he confronts his inner decadent, admitting that this very element of weakness, of sickness, was the fountain of his spirit's power. The decadent within him became a muse. The abyss that others fear, Nietzsche transformed into a wellspring of creative fire. We too must learn to make peace with our shadow. To live in alliance with it is to discover a calmness and satisfaction that cannot be achieved by merely suppressing it. When we attempt to crush this part of ourselves, it retaliates. It manifests as frustration or disquiet, but self-awareness, true self-awareness, the kind that does not flinch in its own contradictions, brings the shadow into a harmonious dance with the conscious self. This is not the shallow, complacent knowledge of the masses, but a profound recognition of our own dual nature. How do we begin to integrate the shadow? The first step is recognizing that the shadow exists, Self-awareness gives us the ability to observe our reactions, triggers, and patterns of behavior that indicate deeper truths beneath the surface. Often, our strongest emotional reactions signal an unacknowledged part of our shadow. One of the most profound outcomes of shadow work is a newfound sense of calm and inner peace. By integrating the shadow, we are no longer at war with ourselves. Each part of us, both light and dark, can coexist in harmony. This internal alliance creates emotional stability and a deeper satisfaction with life. As Jung remarked, there is no light without shadow and no psychic wholeness without imperfection. Shadow work allows us to see ourselves in our entirety, not as flawed beings who must reject parts of themselves, but as complex, multi-faced individuals who can accept all their dimensions. This process of self-acceptance does not happen overnight. It requires time, patience, and a willingness to confront the ego. The ego often resists this integration, preferring to maintain its constructed identity. But through persistence, we gradually break down these barriers, peeling away the layers of conditioning that have kept the shadow at bay. Dreams are more than just random images or fleeting thoughts during sleep. They are a doorway into the deepest layers of our subconscious. By exploring the hidden messages within dreams, you can unlock powerful insights about yourself, including your desires, fears, and even emotions you have buried. This process is called dream work, and it's one of the most effective tools for personal growth and self-awareness. At the heart of dream work lies the idea of shadow work, an exploration of the parts of yourself that remain hidden or suppressed. These may be traits, emotions, or desires you have been taught to reject or simply never acknowledged. But the shadow, like a neglected part of your psyche, doesn't disappear. Instead, it finds expression in subtle ways, influencing your behavior and emotions. Dreams offer a window into this shadow self, giving you the chance to observe, understand, and eventually integrate it into your conscious life. Here are two simple yet powerful techniques to get started. The repressed shadow reveals itself in dreams when the conscious ego is away. One of the most straightforward ways to begin shadow work through dreams is by keeping a dream journal. Place a notebook and pen by your bed, and as soon as you wake up, write down any dreams you remember, no matter how strange or unclear they seem. Dreams often fade quickly, so capturing them right away is essential. Over time, you will begin to notice patterns or recurring themes. Perhaps certain symbols, places, or feelings keep resurfacing. These recurring elements are key to understanding what parts of your shadow self are trying to emerge. For example, dreams involving conflict or fear may point to unresolved issues, suppressed anger, or hidden desires that need your attention. Journaling helps make the unconscious conscious, offering a clear map to explore the shadow's terrain. While dream journaling is a great first step, the real depth comes when you analyze these dreams. You can do this on your own, but it's often more effective to work with a therapist or a trusted friend. Sharing your dreams allows for different perspectives, helping you unlock deeper meanings you might have missed. Look at the symbols in your dreams. What do they represent to you? Often, a dream's meaning is highly personal. For example, a recurring image of water might represent emotions, but whether those emotions are peaceful or overwhelming depends on how the water appears in your dream. Pay attention to how you feel during the dream and upon waking. These emotions are valuable clues to the subconscious issues at play. By analyzing your dreams, you can uncover parts of yourself you might not have realized were there. These insights allow you to bring those hidden aspects into the light, integrating them into your waking life in a healthy, balanced way. Of course, there are other ways to explore and embrace your shadow to become whole. We encourage you to study and implement them as well. One prominent summary of the whole discussion on our dark side is found in Robert Greene's book The Laws of Human Nature, Chapter 9. You can also find other sources in the pinned commentary below this video. Let's conclude by saying that the ultimate goal of any shadow work is wholeness. Through the process of integration, we reconcile the conscious self with the shadow, creating a unified personality. As Carl Jung wisely said, "How can I be substantial if I do not cast a shadow? I must have a dark side also if I am to be whole." By integrating the shadow, we become more authentic, compassionate, and emotionally stable individuals. We forge deeper connections with the others and live life with greater empathy and understanding. Only when we gaze unblinking into the depths of our own abyss do we find that it is, paradoxically, most fulfilling. The abyss is not a void to fear, but a mirror reflecting our truest potential. Those who peer into its darkness, not in terror but in trust, will emerge not as monsters, but as beings of greater depth, creators of themselves.